Hello, I'm April, aka Court Chronicles, and I just wanted to do a follow up because we've been talking a lot about the Kardashians and all that they're involved in, and I think people are taking a closer look at how scandalous they are. Like it's people are starting to see them as like scammers. So we just unpacking it. So there's been a lot of conversation about Kris Jenner owning a church. So we wanted to get into the tea. So apparently, Kris Jenner founded a church back in 2008, and it was back then it was called the Life Change Community Church, but now it's called California Community Church. CCC, so she likes the alliteration because she does it all the time with the K's. And with this particular church, there's a membership for $1,000 a month plus a mandatory 10% of your income. Now, I've been to quite a few churches in my day. And I know, they get their 10% and maybe a love offering. But I ain't never, ever, ever, ever had to pay $1,000 per month to attend the church. So this church has been under scrutiny, and sometimes Kris tries to disavow and say that, or I think it's bots on Google that tries to say it's not true about the rumors. But when you scroll down on the Google, on the actual Google review, it talks about the fees right there in the box. So it's absolutely hilarious. So early on, this church was called Life Change Community Church, and the name changed in 2012 after a tax scandal. But let's go back to 2008 and look at what was happening in Kris Jenner's life. So Kris Jenner at the time, I've never known them to be holy at all, but maybe they keep that secret. I know Kim is over there trying to reincarnate Marilyn Monroe as we speak with her strand that she's doing voodoo hoodoo on. But with Kris in the particular church, she started this church 1 year after Kim and Ray J allegedly negotiated and released the vintage footage, aka the S tape, that is just always on the circuits trending because Kim always puts it in the media. So let's unpack it, guys. So they go from, upper middle class, but Kim was Kris was kind of going through it financially. They were a little tight. So they was keeping up with the Joneses, but they ain't have it like that. So this tape comes out, money starting to run in and flow in. Lots of money. What does Kris do? She says, not call the IRS, not let's pay. It's let's set up a church. Because if you're looking at the timing of it, it's 1 year after the tape is released and the sales are skyrocketing. And all of a sudden now she has this church that Kim has to pour into. So going a little bit deeper, people want to know, like, what's tax evasion? Is this wrong? How do the rich get away with it? So I wanted to really, really unpack everything. So Kris Jenner, she is the co-founder of this church. She's on the executive board. So we got that. But from there, tax evasion, let's understand tax evasion is the illegal non-payment or underpayment of taxes by individuals, corporations, and or trusts. So we have to look at the facts only from what we know and try to make a determination. Does it look like they're avoiding taxes on $1 billion? Well, one, let's start here. I've never ever saw the Kardashians go to church outside of this photograph. I think everyone who remembered this is like an Easter. They went to church, but if you look closely, it's paparazzis all around. Now, this church, why I say that is because in California, where these women live, it's not easy to breach those areas. It's not easy to access. Hell, when I try to drive to Calabasas, the cops me mugging, pulling me over. What are you doing here? I'm just trying to get coffee and go hiking. They are very aggressive, especially if you don't have the complexion protection that looks like the Kardashians, unfortunately. So let's not pretend like I live in LA, guys. I wish I could take a camera around and how much people get harassed when you're in wealthy neighborhoods. Yes, even me as a lawyer, because when I'm not suited or I'm just dressed like I am now Saturday, just chilling and not in a full suit where it's clear that I'm somebody in the eyes of those people. Oh, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Is very aggressive. Most of the time, one of my favorite stairs is over by Calabasas to go hiking. And I don't like to go to those stairs just because when you go, cops are just extra, you don't look like you belong here. So it's not an easy area to access to get to this particular region. The church is about 8 miles away from Kim's Calabasas or Hidden Hills estate. Yes, all of that. That's not a neighborhood. That's not multiple homes. All of that is Kim Kardashian Noel's one of her estates, the $60 million estate that allegedly she wasn't even paying the domestic staff to take care of. So they're in this exclusive area. It has the most exclusive membership. And I just did a Google search of the area and kind of walked down the street. So these are homes in the area of this church to give you an idea of what we're working with. Now, let's look at the church. It's in a plaza, nondescript, nothing that would even denote that it's a church except the word church. Like no one, you might even think this is an administrative office. So it appears Kris has this setup. I can't say to avoid taxes because she didn't spill that tea, but what we could do is look at the tax law. So a nonprofit is governed by 501c3. That's the IRS. That's the actual code. That is what it's governed by. And within that, it explains that churches are not liable to pay taxes. And give me 1 second. I'm trying to get to the page, guys. So what's the benefit of setting up a church? Let's talk about it. And I'm going to talk about the benefit as far as looking at the crime, the punishment, everything when you're rich. So churches and religious organizations, and I'm reading under tax exempt status, churches and religious organizations, like many other charitable organizations, qualify for exemption from federal income tax under IRC section 501c3 and are generally eligible to receive tax deductible contributions. Now, going down to under the recognition of tax exempt status, I think this is so important because this is the tea, y'all. This is what rich people do. So churches that meet the requirement of the 501c3 are automatically considered tax exempt and are not required to apply and obtain recognition of tax exempt status. So basically, after Kris set up her church in 2008, automatically tax exempt, the IRS doesn't appear to be auditing them. They don't even have to apply for it. And with these nonprofits under the church umbrella, there's no reporting of income. So we have no clear understanding if this is a true religious organization or if it's just something for Kris and the Klan, as they call themselves, because I don't call them that shit. They call themselves that. And I hope it goes down in history, Kim, Kris, and the Klan. And I hope next to it, we could talk about the education of what the Klan is, because it's crazy to me that you could appropriate my culture and want to be up on Black men all the time, but you're comfortable calling yourself the Klan. Do better, ladies. Do better. So with that, you have the Klan paying their money into this church. But y'all, here go the tea. The Kardashians and Jenners don't go to this church that their mom allegedly owned. When they do go to church, if they pop up in church, they actually are members of Hillsong. And for everyone that's out of the States, Hillsong is a big church here in the States. It's like a mega church. It's one of those. Very popular. They recently had some scandal, but not getting into that because we focused on Kris's church. So Kris owns a church and allegedly operates by collecting them coins every month, that $1,000 monthly membership and that 10%. But when it's time for her to go to church, that ain't her church. And then now this is the word on the curve. They say they actually don't have services in this building. So the building that we see is not set up to receive or have any type of fellowship. The building that we see, basically you go there, someone sends you or give you a card, and then they tell you someone to text or call you. So now, I won't call it a scam, but I will say it has all the elements and trimmings of a scam. So let's talk about tax evasion versus tax avoidance. Because a lot of times people say, oh, well, it's tax evasion. Like, let's get to it because there are legal ways to avoid taxes. Now, often me and you are not in the tax bracket to do it because the tax laws are not written, drafted, or constructed for our benefit. It's solely to exploit the poorer citizens to the benefit of the wealthy. That is just how the tax code is written. It is. So, and I'm going to show you with the punishment for tax evasion once we get to it. So with tax evasion, that is exactly what it sounds like. You are avoiding paying what you're due to pay. So you're either not paying or you're underpaying your taxes. So tax avoidance. Now this is very important. Tax avoidance is not it is not illegal. So tax avoidance is basically finding loopholes in the law that you are able to utilize the tax code to your benefit. Now, the question becomes tax avoidance is if you have a church legitimately and you are discounting those expenses related to it. Yes, that is legal to avoid taxes in a legitimate loophole. But in the instance of Miss Christian, I don't know if it's a real church, but I ain't never ever seen them be holy. I mean, tomorrow, y'all, tomorrow's Sunday. Let's see what they're doing tomorrow. Never ever really heard them mention it. And now Kim is out there singing and praising voodoo. So I am so confused about the church. And let's talk about how unfair, and I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I get into how unfair it is for people of this magnitude and this degree of wealth to be able to do this directly in front of our faces, and the IRS don't even have the balls to check them because they're the Kardashians. But you and I, if we don't pay $1, $2, or $3 on taxes, we're going to be in trouble. So the whole system is broken because it rewards bad behavior. Because I'm calling a spade a spade. It's disgusting that the wealthiest people in this country refuse to contribute to the infrastructure of this country, i.e., taxes. So, how much money does a multi-billion-dollar empire avoid by the guise of a church? And what happens if you and I set up a church and run all of our funds through it? How quick would we get audited? This is publicly known information about Kris Jenner and the operation of her church. There has not been one word about an audit since it has come out. There has been no investigative analysis. And I gotta say it. If Kris Jenner was a black billionaire in America, y'all know how they do black rich people. Listen, listen, they be coming for us. Oh, they would have audited think Wesley Snipes. But they can do this, have this fraudulent church that you and I couldn't even go to get down and pray if we wanted to, because we don't fit within the status of them. And they want to call that shit a house of God. Kris, how dare you with your blasphemy? What about this? Kris, Kim, Chloe, all y'all, whatever y'all do, like leave your hoodoo voodoo, but don't go commingle religion and other people's stuff. Because when you disrespect my God and my Jesus, I come for you, baby. And the reads get more and more hardcore. And Kim Minibar, I mean, you too easy to read, boo. So let's stray away from demonizing religion for people who value it. And you guys go to your hoodoo, voodoo caves and avoid your taxes that way, or just pay taxes because you don't give to charity. You don't do anything for anyone outside of yourself. You don't do anything for society. You don't do anything for humanity. All you do is buy things to fulfill your shallow, narcissistic, plastic-filled body. So at the least you can do is leave the churches alone. So that's all I got, y'all. Just make sure that you and I pay our taxes and we don't set up a fraudulent church to avoid paying taxes like some of those. So until next time, guys, it's been Kourt Chronicles. It's been real. Thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts on this because it just is annoying to me. So y'all tap in. And I got to ask, I'm new to YouTube. I'm super new, still learning it. So open to all feedback. Please, please, please give it anything you want me to do to try to improve, expand upon on the page. Let me know. And if there is anything or any topics that you want me to cover or do a deep dive, let me know and it will be my pleasure. It's been awesome. So y'all enjoy Saturday. Have a good one.